I think you would have caught that. That's a 3 3/4. Oh, it looks like.
Had to use the heater out of the first one.
Alrighty, well, she's back up to 5 shanks. Not as wide as I'd like to be, but what can you do? It was that shank, middle shank, and that outside shank. I put this one and that one back in. Put the coulters back in. It's got new bolts and all the stuff I just added today. And that one I drilled out, my intent, because when I got all this done, I picked the gauge wheels up as far as they'll go now. So now they're set at 14 inches, and then once you figure in the squat of the tires from the plow sucking, I'm probably getting about 16 inches deep, which around here is all the further I want to go. Otherwise, I got to start worrying about picking up clay tile. And since most of the clay tile around here is actually still working, I really don't want to be hitting it. So it's plenty deep for what I'm doing. That's still, I don't know, at least 9 inches below my plow depth. 8-9 inches. So anyway, back to what I was saying. The coulter I drilled the hole in, my original intent was I was going to pull all 5 of them off and punch one more hole in them and try to get them up, because right now, if you measure to the bottom of the here is 15 inches, or if you measure to the bottom of the arm, it's 15 inches. So it's going to be right on the verge of burying that coulter yoke down in the ground. But I put the one in, I drilled the hole in right here to test fit it, and it hit this piece of box tube. So they pretty much are where they are. So I ended up taking the one I punched the hole in and put it here in the center, because all the ones on the main frame, the channel iron butts right up to the box tube. On the center one, in order to get clearance for the hitch and stuff, they had to drop it down about 2 inches. So I raised that center coulter up 1.5 inches. The hole spread was 1.5 inches, so I got another 1.5 inches out of it, so it's more in line with the rest of them. And it did make this coulter bar run into this hole, but I'm not 100% sure why that hole is even there, because you're never going to use it. So I don't know. But so not a problem, and if anything, I could just whack off one hole, because the center coulter, you're never going to drop it all the way down to the top hole, because then it'll be way lower than the rest of them. So, but it'll never be a problem, so I'm not going to worry about it. So while I was at it, I went through and busted all the stops loose and readjusted them, and I put new roll pins and washers underneath all of them. The only one that caused me an issue was this one right here. I had to cut the back off, or cut a flat on the washer, because for some reason the way this thing fit together, and actually, yeah, it's the same stop. For some reason, the way everything fit together on this one, it was like a 32nd of an inch from clearing, letting the roll pin through. So I had to, because on all these, washer's technically a little too big, but it'll wear in. They're hitting the shank, and I had to clip it off to give that washer some more clearance to come up to get the roll pin all the way in. So we're going to start with 5, see how the white pulls it. I mean, as easy as the thing pulled on my 19, I wasn't lacking any horsepower, and I was 14 inches deep. And the only thing I was lacking there was traction. Well, now with that 4-wheel drive, traction's not going to be any issue. And I got at least 30 more horse. I don't know if that tractor's been turned up or not. It says 175 horse on the tack. So I'm thinking motor might have been played with. Wouldn't know unless we got it on a dyno, and there ain't nobody around here who's got a dyno that goes that big. At least not one that I wouldn't have to pay for. So, I don't know. I guess we'll find out. If it pulls easy, I'll throw the other 2 shanks on there and pull all 7. If it feels just about right, I'll leave it 5 and pull it just the way it is. But unfortunately, still probably not going to be able to get to use it this spring because it doesn't it hasn't been freezing long enough to get the ground hard enough to rip yet this winter, unless something happens here in January. It'd be nice if something did, because I'd like to get some. There's at least one field I really want to get ripped. But if the ground doesn't either dry out good this spring, which would actually be a bad thing, so you'd like it to be a little on the damp side when you're planting, but if it doesn't dry out enough to rip this spring, or it doesn't freeze hard enough to rip yet this winter, I'm not even going to screw with it, and I'll just try it again next fall. But regardless, if the opportunity comes, the ripper is now ready. I'm just got to get a set of hitch balls for the white so I can pick it up. So, anyway, this was kind of a short video, but this was really all I have to work on at the moment. I'm gonna get a bunch of parts ordered tomorrow, so should have other stuff to work on next weekend, but we'll see what happens. So I guess that does it for this one. We'll catch you guys on the next one.